Hi, everyone. My name is Allie Brown. I am the Executive Director of Rebuilding Together. We're going to go ahead and get started. We are very excited to have you all here today. On the screen, you can see kind of our plan for this next 35 to 45 minutes. We really are glad to have you. If you have any questions for any of our speakers as we're going on, please feel free to put them in the chat box and we will pop to it. We're going to start off with a video about a little bit about rebuilding together.
A home can be much more than just a house. But for some of our neighbors, home means uncertainty and isolation. At Rebuilding Together, we turn houses into homes and revitalize our communities. Because a neighborhood is more than just houses and streets. It's familiar faces and open arms. Join the movement to ensure everyone can live in a safe home and community. Become a rebuilder today.
So thank you everyone for being here. I am very excited to introduce our current board president, Mr. Jason Watt. He is a construction quality manager at Beam Longest and Neff, and he's been pretty amazing through this entire year. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jason. Let me unmute you, Jason. I apologize. Hold on.
Thank you, Allie. So welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Jason Watt, and I'm the board president of RTI. I would like to start by saying thank you to all of our sponsors who have supported us throughout our 21-year history. With your help, we have rebuilt 421 homes for those less fortunate. Over the years, with the help of the Indiana Union Construction Trades and volunteers, we have made a $7.5 million investment to make homes safe and healthy. Many of you have been with us since the beginning, and we would not be here without you. This year has been very hard on all of us, and the homeowners we serve are safer and healthier with your support. I would also like to thank our board members for their support during this crisis. I am very proud of all the work we have been able to accomplish. We are providing hope, safety, and healthy homes to those who are in need the most during this crisis. The people we proudly serve are veterans and elderly who truly need our support. We are often providing comfort to those who may be even in their final days, so they can stay in their homes with dignity. I remember the story of Mr. McConnell, a 92-year-old World War II veteran. The front windows of his home had been shot out. His furnace didn't work. His water heater didn't work, along with a lot of other problems with his home. There was holes in the roofs and everything. And we were in the dead of winter. He heated his house with his oven. He warmed his bath water on his stove. He slept on a 40-year-old mattress. He had all been but forgotten. And through your help, we provided him with a new bed. We fixed his furnace. We fixed his water heater. We made his home safe and healthy. I remember the team found a photo of him as a young man in his military uniform, and our team had it framed for him. And you, our sponsors, our union volunteers, our board members gave him back his dignity and pride. And I can't thank you enough for allowing me to be a part of that for the last 2 years. So with that being said, I'll turn it back over to you, Allie.
Thank you, Jason. That's super important. A lot of us get into this not realizing how much of an individual impact we can make. Thank you for sharing your story. Next, I'd like to introduce a video from our mayor. He's unable to be here today, but he has long been a supporter of Rebuilding Together. So I'm going to play this surprisingly short video from Mayor Joe Hoffstadt. Hopefully.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Rebuilding Together Indianapolis Sponsor Appreciation. Rebuilding Together has been a staple in our community for 21 years, helping over 450 homeowners live in a safe, healthy home. Every day in our city, families are forced to choose between home repairs and other basic necessities. Rebuilding Together works to ensure that families no longer have to make that choice. Through their partnership with the Central Indiana Building Trades, more homeowners can live comfortably and independently. Thank you to all of our sponsors for your help and dedication to this organization. The amazing work of Rebuilding Together would not be possible without you. I thank you.
We are very grateful to have the support of Mayor Hogsett and to have the support of Council President Bob Osley, whose neighborhood we're working in this year. I just wanted to tell you all, and I know I've communicated and you've been communicated with by a lot of us over the course of the past 10 months. 2020 has been a pretty intense year for all of us, right? I started as the executive director, the first full-time executive director in a 21-year history of Rebuilding Together Indianapolis in February. Within my first 45 days, we had to shut down our plans for our normal big spring rebuild day. I have to say, after working for a decade in nonprofits and working with government, I have never met a more compassionate group of people than the board of directors that I get to work for. The second we started talking about what was going to happen and how we were going to handle this, people weren't talking about how their jobs were going to be affected. They were concerned about if our homeowners could make it without us. We talked about how we could help and how we could lend our hands to our homeowners. Part of it was just calling and speaking with them and letting them know that we were there if they needed something. As the days went on and the stay-at-home orders continued, we realized we wouldn't be able to do our big build day, the one thing we all looking forward to, transforming homes for our 18 homeowners. As we continued through the year, we got some rough news. We had lost a couple of homeowners to the virus. Others had become sick with other issues. And it was hard for us to know that our best move at the moment was not to bring a bunch of volunteers into their homes, but be there for support. Whether it was talking with Citizens Energy to get them a furnace, or working with one of our newest partners, Renewal by Anderson, to help do windows in the homes to make sure that they're weatherized. Our board shifted to what can we do to make it as safe as possible for our homeowners. We worked on creating safe at-home baskets. These baskets contain things like cleaning supplies, PPE supplies, basic health necessities such as thermometers, which have become such a hot commodity and hard to get, along with a gift card to Kroger, where they were able to order groceries and have them delivered to their homes. The faces of people as we brought those baskets to them and spoke with them about all we're trying to do and all we're limited to do was a pretty amazing experience. Now we are doing essential repairs. We're looking at what can be finished and what needs to be completed to make sure our homeowners can make it through this winter. Working with Citizens and Renewal by Anderson, we're making sure that the house is as airtight or houses as weather tight as we can get it. We're also, our partners with ERMCO are going to be helping with some electrical issues that we feel are unsafe. We've also learned through working with our homeowners that many, if not all of them, have no working smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, or carbon monoxide detectors in their home. Not only were we able to help our homeowners get those appliances, with the amount of people in near Northwest that we had talked to, we realized that this was an issue that they're facing in deficit. We're now working with the Indianapolis Fire Department to get all the homeowners in the neighborhood checked for working smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, and fire extinguishers. Many of the homes in the neighborhood were built between 1880 and 1910. A lot of the electrical systems are not up to date. We're doing everything we can for our homeowners, but we know that there are many others in the neighborhood who need help. Our goal has always been to make as big of an impact as possible for those who need us. Every day, we wish we could help as many people as possible. Because of you, we're going to be able to grow and we're going to be able to do more. But with this year, we know that everyone has faced a challenge, and we are so unbelievably grateful to our sponsors. You're allowing us to evolve and transform and work for these home families has been amazing. There hasn't been 1 ounce of pushback from anybody. It's all about doing the most good. And that's what we've strived to do here in 2020, protecting our board members, protecting our volunteers, but most importantly, protecting our homeowners. In this time of uncertainty, as somebody new, I have to say that you all have been so unbelievably wonderful. And I just really want to thank you. I know next year, well, I know we don't know what next year will look like or what things will look like going forward. But I know with you all caring as deeply as you do about creating safe and healthy homes for the most vulnerable in our community, that we'll be able to move forward together. So that's my own little personal story on why I'm so proud to be the executive director of Rebuilding Together Indianapolis, and so proud of the work we've done in 2020. I'd like to now introduce you to Ron Rice, who has been wonderful and essential. Ron is a community builder for the Near Northwest community where we're working this year. Ron is an amazing person who gives his all to everybody he meets. Without him, I don't know how we would have been able to work with all of our homeowners during all this unknown time. So Ron, I just sent you the unmute.
I saw it.
There we go.
All right. Thank you, Allie. And thank you, everyone, not only with the Rebuild Together here in Indianapolis, but also to all the sponsors. I have a lot to say, but I know I'm going to be limited, so I'm going to keep to the point. But my job is basically the voice of the community, the chief networker. I've got 7 neighborhoods, about 50,000 residents that encompass the Near Northwest area. And we are stationed out of Flanner House, which is the community center for this area. Flanner House has been around for over 100 years, basically providing social justice, social and economic development for African American, Latino, Caucasian, and any other culture that is here through feeding programs, through housing, through financial literacy, and also through home repair and also home ownership. So when I got the word that Rebuild Together would be working through Flanner House, I was instructed to be able to make sure that we were able to get the information out to as many residents as we possibly could, in particular our most vulnerable. We did that. And the first thing I noticed was the surprise on the residents, all the residents' face when we approached their homes with small teams to ascertain what the issues that needed to be addressed. And if you understand areas that have a low economy and a lot of crime or a lot of neglect, to see someone come in and actually do something instead of saying it made such a huge difference just on that first day. Once we got the houses that were going to be on the list, everyone was excited. And it became a question of how can we make this bigger and better. So once Rebuild Together Indy decided to apply for the 16 Tech grant to increase some funding for more windows and more work, the neighborhoods all became a lot more hopeful. When COVID hit, unfortunately, we, like Alex said, we did have a few deaths in that list. One of them actually happened to live on my street. And also, too, we were dealing with the fact that now we were waiting and people were still kind of wondering what was going to happen, like we all were as a country. But then when they Rebuild Together came back around to bring baskets to let everyone know that they are still at the top of their hearts and on top of their minds, I was literally stopped in the middle of the street by one of those residents, the one whose actually husband had passed away, and was basically told, like, with tears in her eyes, that there is no way that no one could care for us like the way Rebuild Together and the Near Northwest and the Flanner House have been. And that moved me quite a bit. One of my own neighbors is also another recipient of this gift from you guys. And his wife, it just got out of open heart surgery. And so this gift that's being given is giving them hope in the midst of all the financial turmoil, the COVID turmoil, and also the threat of gentrification in the area. To know that their house would be able to be uplifted, whether it's refaced, whether it's updated, has made a big difference on how they proceed through this very hard process of wondering if they'll be displaced. It's been a choice between paying their taxes that might be going up or getting their homes fixed. And this has made a huge difference. Not only did it make a difference in their lives, but then it started to spur other organizations to get involved and start to partner and find ways to not only mimic or maybe even partner with Rebuild Together Indy. So now we've got folks who are coming up with emergency funds to fix other senior homes, or they're helping with code violations, and whether it's paying the violations, but also possibly fixing the violations themselves. And so this spurring this Good Samaritan feeling all over our neighborhoods. And I can't say thank you enough because my whole job is not only community engagement, but to improve the quality of life for the residents of the Near Northwest area. And we have seen nothing but not only hope, but a sense of community, a much bigger sense of community than we ever had seen. And I think you guys have been a huge part of that. And I just want to say thank you. And I hope that we can continue on with all the things that we're doing in the name of the community and not ourselves. So, Ali, that's all I've got.
Thank you so much, Ron. That was wonderful. It's really important to know that we make our impact by helping the community help itself. And that's so important. And when the community has great advocates like Ron and like Brandon with the Flanner House, it has been amazing to work with, to know that the community is fighting so hard. I'd like next to introduce Becky Carter. Becky is our director for the Central Region for Rebuilding Together, and she's going to kind of give an update on where we are nationally and what's going on. So Becky, I have unmuted you, I think. And let me know as you need me to turn slides.
Oh, there we go. I think you can hear me. We can go to the first slide. I always double mute with my phone and the regular. So we'll get to the first slide, but I want to thank you guys for letting me speak today a little bit. Like Ali said, I'm the regional director for the national office. And so for those of you that may not know, we have a network of over 120 affiliates across the country who are doing similar work to what you're doing in Indianapolis. So every program is a little bit different, but all having a really great impact in those that they serve and in the communities where they live. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes giving you a brief update on kind of what 2020 looks like for us. And then I think more importantly, what's coming for 2030 and some big visions that we have for the network. So next slide, please. So for us, like many of you and what we've alluded to here, 2020 has forced us to take some hard stops this year. COVID, had us really take a long pause during March and April, which is for a lot of our network, most of the busiest time of the year. But we asked the network to take a pause. We really wanted to take a hard look at how we were able to execute the mission, but also do it in a manner that was going to keep our homeowners safe, our community safe, staff, boards, all of the people, the volunteers that came out to sites. Like we knew, much like everyone's kind of stated here on the call, we couldn't keep having large groups of volunteers gather at houses to make things happen. So organizationally, we pulled together what we called the Restart Committee. And during that 8 weeks, we worked on policies and procedures to make these things happen. And so I think one thing, that's important is as we look forward to 2021 and, what's still ahead for us in this COVID journey, we really looked at how we can keep everybody safe. And that's been really important to us. So you'll probably see some of those procedures put into place as as things slowly start to get back to what would be normal. So, but what we did really see is pivots in how affiliates were supporting the community. So, and that took place in a lot of different ways. So next slide, please. What you guys saw on the previous slide actually was a lot of folks pivoted to bring fresh foods and groceries to communities where they, may not have had access or couldn't get out to get things. We saw, like I said, a lot more safety procedures. And then here in Indianapolis, you guys had did the home safety kits, which Allie discussed a little bit earlier, but bringing those important things to folks that they couldn't get during a really critical time. I loved when I looked at the photos that I saw the toilet paper in there, because I feel like that was a very vital thing people were after for a while. So anyway, it was really great to see people embrace different things and get the community what it needs. And I think it really speaks to Rebuilding Together's level of understanding the communities that we work with and serve. And so that was important. So next slide. So this is kind of a hard pivot here. This article came out in May of this year, but and is a COVID related story, but really speaks to, I think, what Rebuilding Together sees every day and across the country. And this article kind of spoke to the fact that now that we were all home, sheltering in place with COVID, it was more, people were more aware of folks that were working without plumbing or, maybe manageable kitchen spaces. And so this article kind of pointed that out. And so it was interesting timing. What was also interesting about it, and acknowledging, like I said, what we see every day, is that it very much hit on what we're trying to lay out for some goals heading towards 2020. And so if you want to go to the next slide, Allie, we actually started this work in the fall of 2019, and hopefully some of you have read Good to Great by Jim Collins. It's a great book, but we really wanted to set a big, hairy, audacious goal for our network, using the structure and lessons from this book and the teachings from Jim, put something out there that was really aspirational. And so our committee worked gathering feedback from the network and understanding, what we knew from research on, externally, and really set an ambitious goal and a call to action. So if you want to go to the next slide. So for us, we're really looking, sorry, my screen got a little small there. Our big, hairy, audacious goal is to, by 2030, have Rebuilding Together will be the #1 community revitalization partner with neighborhoods and communities. And the call to action would be to end substandard housing with safe homes and communities for everyone. So this isn't doing something necessarily new or different, it's doing what we do better. And one of the strategic goals for making this happen is we want to address by 2030 1 million household hazards, which we know will make people have healthier and safer neighborhoods and communities. So we hope to see you on that journey and join us with that. We can go to the next slide. And then lastly, this is kind of a quick debrief for you guys. I only had a few minutes and I may even actually be over time a little bit, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that was able to join. Thank you for supporting the local communities where you live and work. Thank you for volunteering your time. Thank you for your monetary donations and in-kind gifts. And thank you for supporting Rebuilding Together Indianapolis. It's a team effort. We know as a network that when we work together, we can tackle big things and make great things happen. So I really appreciate you and your support, and I will toss it back to Allie.
Thank you so much, Becky. Having such a great partner as our regional director and with national has allowed us to grow and flourish and to learn from other communities. We've been lucky that we've only been hit with COVID. A lot of the southern parts of the network have also been dealing with hurricanes and tornadoes and all sorts of other natural disasters. So I know Becky and other affiliates have had to pivot to some of those things, and we've been lucky, knock on wood, to not have to deal with those issues also this year. Thank you so much, Becky. I am very excited to introduce Trevor Meeks. He's our next speaker. He is the Vice President of Single Family Housing for INHP. INHP is an amazing partner with Rebuilding Together, and they're also a grantor, so we work with them, and they help us out with a lot of stuff, and they help us with a lot of questions. They connect us to a lot of other organizations who also work in housing inside of Marion County. We can't do it all alone. So I'd like to turn it over now to Trevor Meeks. Trevor, I unmuted you and you should be good to go.
Thanks, Allie. Good afternoon. I'd like to share a few comments on affordable housing and some of the ongoing market challenges encountered by families and neighborhoods within the Indianapolis, Marion County area. At NHP, we teach a simple concept to families about how to avoid becoming housing cost burden. According to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, when a home is affordable for a family, rental, or home ownership, housing costs do not exceed 30% of the household's gross income. It's a simple life lesson: live somewhere you can afford. However, it's a concept that's easier said than done as of late when we apply the market conditions in and around Marion County. We believe there's a shortage of affordable housing options available for families we serve. And momentarily, I'll share a few data points with you that makes this challenge incredibly clear. For instance, based on 2017 data, 115,000 plus Marion County households are earning 80% of the area median income and paying more than they can reasonably afford. As a percent, that's approximately 31% of families with low and moderate incomes in Marion County that are housing cost burden. We also know that most of these families only earn up to 30% of the area median income, which is considered very low income by HUD's own definition. From a homeownership perspective, we know that families with low and moderate incomes can traditionally afford a home that's priced in the range between $75,000 to $140,000. The Metropolitan Indianapolis Board of Realtors has helped us track data to understand the supply of homes for sale in this price range. And that data indicates that there's been an 86% reduction of homes in this price range since January of 2014. Conversely, mortgage rates have recently fluctuated at or near historic lows. This is evidenced by a recent review of Freddie Mac's weekly mortgage rate survey, indicating that 30-year fixed rate mortgage was at 2.80% as of yesterday. Favorable mortgage rates are helping to fuel buyer demand. The lack of housing supply, coupled with rising demand, has contributed to a prolonged upward trend in the median sales price for homes sold in Marion County, and it's created what we call a seller's market. Between January of 2014 and August of this year, the median sales price has increased from $104,500 to $187,000. It's a 79% increase. This escalating price point is simply out of reach for many families with low or moderate incomes. Another area of concern indicative of housing-related challenges encountered by our families and neighborhoods is the aging housing stock. According to the U.S. Census 2019 American Community Survey, over 70% of homes in Marion County are more than 40 years old. For families with low and moderate incomes, deferred maintenance on older homes, which are more likely to be in the city center, results in unsafe living conditions. This unique market dynamic of a lack of affordable housing supply intertwined with an aging housing stock in our area exemplifies the need for public, private, and philanthropic entities to continue to develop innovative programming and access to resources to better enable families with low and moderate incomes to achieve and sustain home ownership. It also highlights, in our opinion, the important work being performed by Rebuilding Together Indy, aimed at creating safe and healthy homes and communities for everyone. As our organizational missions are closely aligned, INHP is very pleased to take part in today's events, and we look forward to continued partnership and collaboration with RTI in servicing the local community going forward. This concludes my comments for the day. Thank you and thank you for your time. Back to you, Allie.
Thank you, Trevor, and thank you so much to INHP for being such an amazing partner with us and for caring so much about homeownership here in Indianapolis. We are now moving on to our last speaker. So the way the Indianapolis Rebuilding Together board works is our president serves a year, but prior to that, they serve as vice president, so they can learn how the organization runs and where to go. So I'd like to introduce to you our next speaker, Brian McHugh, who is our vice president and of Rebuilding Together, who is also a project manager for AECOM Hunt. He will be our incoming president in 2021. So Brian, I have unmuted you whenever you're ready.
Yes, thank you, Allie. I appreciate it. So yes, thank you very much for attending our virtual sponsor event here. We greatly appreciate everybody's hard work and effort and everything that you do throughout the year. Ali, I want to thank you also being our new executive director. You've maintained an energetic enthusiasm in working with the community and taking the program to new heights. I really appreciate all the work that you've also done in researching potential grants to help increase our funding, and which ultimately helps the community. Jason, I want to thank you as well for providing excellent leadership and dedicating your time for the last several years, and helping me understand how to grow and work with the board and with Ali as well. So to give a little bit about me, I joined Rebuilding Together Indy about 10 years ago, and I came here as a house captain. Each year since, I've volunteered as a house captain. I love working with the organization and helping the lives of our neighbors. During my time volunteering, I thoroughly enjoyed meeting the families and in each of the neighborhoods, and wanted to increase my involvement. And by doing that, I was able to join the board. And I'm just so excited and grateful to have the opportunity to be the next president and continue the great work of all of our past leadership, our board members, and everyone else who's helped Rebuilding Together over the years. We are excited about the future and maximizing our outreach. As everyone has said previously, we've had a lot of challenges this year with the pandemic. And so next year, we'll give you a little bit of idea of what we're trying to make it look like. First, for 2021, we want to finish our commitments to our homeowners of this year. We have 20 homeowners this year, and we're going to do our same game day event and union build day next year in April. Currently, tentatively we have scheduled union build day as April 17th, and we have game day as April 21st. And again, some things might change a little bit here and there on the dates, but we'll work through all of the challenges that come with this pandemic. I also wanted to thank the unions. A lot of our sponsors and volunteers might not know how much work that the unions do. They go into our homes and work with our families and do the heavy lifting. When there's a lot of heavy work that has to be performed on a home, they come in about a week or 2 weeks before we have our official game day and do a wonderful job of helping. Their volunteer and the work that they provide is crucial for Rebuilding Together, and we appreciate all that they do. With the game day also, we appreciate all of our sponsors and volunteers. Rebuilding Together would not exist without your continued dedicated support and help with all of our families. So a couple other things that we're working on as we grow as an organization. We want to increase our outreach, and not just to a game day, once a month. Some of you might not be aware, but we also do homes outside of the traditional game day. We annually work with a veterans home, and what we're trying to do right now is work with other organizations and work within ourselves to increase that, to have more outreach during and throughout the entire year. We're currently working with other nonprofits in housing to increase our impact and share our resources to help each other help these communities. And we want to increase our work with the neighborhood associations and increase spending in neighborhoods to make our financial impact stronger with these communities. So a couple of the past families that I've had the pleasure of being able to work with, Miss Brenda McAtee. She's a former association president of Twin Air. We've done several years out in the Twin Air area, and she was a president of the homeowners association out there, and she worked so well with us and with the community. We appreciated everything that she assisted us with, and we actually had the pleasure of doing some work on her home. There was some heavy underground piping and flooding challenges. We were able to clean that piping and help with those challenges, work on some mold abatement in the area as well, and also help her with her, she has her families there, and she also helps with her, she has a hearing impaired grandson that is her world, and it was just wonderful to work with them. Another beautiful family that we had an opportunity to work with was Miss Diana Murphy. She loved her house and she called it her little matchbox. She lives out in the Hallville area, and all she wanted to do was feel safe and secure in her home. She had attempts of robbery and breaking her doors. So we worked with her and repaired her screen storm doors, replaced doors, and added new hardware. We installed motion detector lights all around the home so it would be lit up. We replaced all of her sidewalks and added a patio in the back for better egress. They were all broken and damaged. And we had an opportunity to also replace her stove. And one of the wonderful things about it, we stay and try and keep in communication with our families. And she sent us a letter, and I wanted to read that letter to you. She said, "Thanks to all of you and all the volunteers who gave their time and skills to help my quality of living at a time that I felt kind of hopeless. I'm so happy and appreciative by those who know and really care about senior citizens throughout Indianapolis." She said, "It was indeed an honor and a pleasure to get to meet us, and she will never forget all that rebuilding together has truly helped her with her home." And lots of love. And she she signed it, Diana Murphy, the cleanup woman of North Pershing Street. She was very active in her neighborhood as well, and she would go out every day and clean up trash and debris from her street. So those are the opportunities that we have a chance to help and work with throughout. And we greatly appreciate all the hard effort and work that goes into what we do at Rebuilding Together. And we look forward to increasing our outreach and doing everything that we can to help our neighbors around the community. I think I'll turn it back to you, Allie.
Yes. Thank you so much, Brian, and thank you for that compliment. I just wanted to thank you all for your time today. I know this has been a weird year. We came in expecting to do a record number of homes, and instead have had to pivot and figure out a different way to make an impact. I just want to thank our sponsors. But I would also not be doing my job as an executive director if I didn't remind you that with the end of this year, we start the 2021 cycle. Our hope is that we're not just going to be able to help the homeowners and finish the projects that we wanted to do this year, but to take on more. So as your companies and your groups look on to the future and what your kind of community impact you'd like to make in 2021, I would encourage you to consider us like you have this year and you have in the past. You have been so amazing to work with. And I just want to thank you so much for being sponsors and for believing in building a better community and for helping Indianapolis's most vulnerable. If we had more people like all of you on this call and those who weren't available, but have stepped up, the 500 volunteers we have a year, the people who donate and the people who drop everything when we need help, I know our city and our country would be better off. So in conclusion, and I'll let you go and enjoy your Friday, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We're so glad to have you all in our Rebuilding Together world. And we look forward to seeing you in person next year for a very large sponsorship celebration. So thank you all, and I'll let you have some time back on your Friday night. Have a great day, stay safe, wear a mask. Bye guys, thank you.